it's important to remember that these large language models really are going to make your lives easier. You can treat them like assistants, or like in this case, maybe a research agency. In order for us to be able to modify and keep iterating and refining and optimizing, we need to be able to break down the commands to the computer, which are those prompts, into basic elements so that we can actually see what inputs are affecting which outputs. What you see here is on the right, the large language model. It could be the large language model of your choice. We're not talking today about building one of those. We're actually going to use it as a resource. We use that large language model by creating prompts. Prompts are basically instructions that can leverage the large language model's capabilities around your specific needs. And so when we build that master prompt, we do it by breaking down the process of whatever it is we're looking to do into basic elements. At Suzy, we do combine the prompt engineering with the subject matter expertise because market research of other industries is very particular about how things need to be done, right? And in this case, we can provide it with those particulars with reference examples, right? We can provide best-in-class examples, whether that be a survey, a discussion guide, an actual example of analysis across all different types of methodologies and use cases so that it can start to learn what good looks like, right? And that's where that subject matter expertise comes in to make sure that you're starting off with high quality capabilities. We also have to give it guidelines, right? We need to be able to tell it where to access all of these supporting materials and in what contexts. You can imagine across the world of quant and qualitative methodologies, not everything is going to be relevant to every business problem, right? So we need to provide guidelines on what it needs to know for which types of use cases. And again, this is why it's so helpful to have your prompt engineer and your actual subject matter experts working together, because these are the particulars that they can very quickly update and refine based on what comes in that output from that feedback loop. Then it's important to remember that these large language models really are going to make your lives easier. You can treat them like assistants, or like in this case, maybe a research agency. Earlier in the presentation, Nick showed all of these things that it's able to automate for us, right? So start treating it like you would a junior analyst or maybe even a research agency. And that means getting the inputs that you would want from them. This is the basic market research 101 stuff. What is your research brief, right? What are your success criteria? What are your objectives for this type of study? Being able to talk to it and give it the details of what you need on a case-by-case basis is going to give it even more context. We've talked about building knowledge bases. We've talked about building surveys around a range of different methodologies. You also need to train it how to actually read the data when it comes in. Just as there are a myriad of methodologies across quant and qual, there's all different ways that data is going to be generated, right? So we need to teach it how to actually manage that exported data and read it in a way that's going to make sense so that it can generate a report with some of those reference examples. And last but not least, this is not a minor thing. You also then have to tell it how to actually create a report that's useful to you. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of insights you can uncover if you can't communicate them effectively. And that's really where we start to format the detailed instructions on what that output should look like based on those use cases. All of those go into that master prompt, which is then leveraging that large language model.